In 2017, a bunch of nerds were tasked by a podcasting network to come up with a monthly show. These men promptly came up with the idea for a comic book show where they could educate the masses. Today, they use this show as a platform for helping their fellow nerds in any way they can. If you have a nerdy question, if Google hasn't helped you, and if you have a Facebook account, maybe you can ask the Nerds for Hire.
Welcome, friends, to the Nerds for Hire show. This is probably going to be our last show with that title. We're going on a rebrand.
Surprise, Trevor.
Surprise, Trevor, who's not here tonight. Mm-hmm. It's just me and Asa Gray.
Also,
5-star man.
Because he's listening, to be 100% clear, Trevor will still be on.
Yes.
Whatever rebranded, assuming he wants to, whatever rebranded thing, because, full disclosure. Let's do some in the spirit of transparency. The original idea for this show was going to be like we could answer questions and like, you know, the early episodes where we how to get into comic books, how to get into XYZ, stuff like that.
Yeah. It was going to be a whole lot of Q&A stuff just
right.
about comic books in general.
Just in general, the fan interaction wasn't where we would, like it to be. We are very grateful for all of our fans who do reach out and do support us in, either just by comments or messages or, like Patreon, stuff like that. It's not enough to really drive like what we kind of hoped this show was going to be.
Yes.
Which isn't necessarily a bad thing.
Things change. Plans change.
Yeah.
And we do appreciate those of you that listen, even if you don't reach out.
Yeah.
We would like it more if you hit us up on Facebook.com/Podzilla1985.
Because again, we want to know who you are.
Yes. There's so many.
We know you're lovely. We want to see it. We want to know. That sounded creepier than I meant it to.
A little. Maybe we should do like a...
Show me yourselves.
Maybe we should get like a Discord going or something like that so they can talk to us without revealing their personal information.
Twitter's anonymous enough.
Oh, yeah, Twitter is pretty anonymous.
We're on Twitter, Podzilla1985.
Yeah, you can hit us up on there. Ace and I are checking it more regularly now. Mm-hmm. We've been tweeting occasionally. Mm-hmm. We're using the twits.
I do stuff. I got one coming. I got one going up tomorrow.
Oh, there you go. So yeah, check that tomorrow. Twitter.com/Podzilla1985.
At whatever time I have free at work.
Yeah.
I mean, on my lunch break probably for sure. Not on work hours.
Definitely not while he's working.
No.
That
he
would never.
That is business time.
Asa is a hard worker. He would never goof off.
No.
During work hours, even when there's
Seriousness.
absolutely nothing to do.
There's never nothing to do, Jesse. If you got time to lean, you got time to clean.
Uh-huh. We pay someone for that.
Yeah, but it's 12 years of that just drilled into my psyche.
No, I work customer service. I know what you're talking about. Back when I was 16 at Burger King, that was the dreaded phrase right there.
But Jesse, teamwork makes the dream work.
Everybody has to be paddling the boat. Right now, only half the people are paddling the boat, and it's not working.
It goes in circles.
Goes in circles.
So it's just, you're not getting.
Everybody's got to be paddling. That was the one we got at GameStop all the time.
I don't like this show.
Yeah, I don't know.
Just throw the whole podcast out.
This is done. This is out. We're done. No more Tuesdays. No more nothing.
No more Wednesdays. No more Thursdays. Sundays are questionable.
No, we are gonna.
No, it's a morning show. No more Sundays.
No more morning shows. No, so yeah, we are going to keep the Tuesday show going though. Like it'll be this show. It'll be me, Asa, and Trevor, because we are a solid trio, I think. Mm-hmm. And we're just gonna figure out what we're gonna do.
And to be fair, like we tend to go off topic anyway.
Yeah,
like it's kind of hard to. We don't really rein ourselves in well.
No, we don't. Like for example, you just heard about Asa's and I's previous jobs and what we did, and the motivational speeches we received.
In fairness. We were kind of coming in this one kind of a little bit flying blind.
A little bit. Because I honestly forgot that tonight was going to be our night until, like, today is Tuesday. So I was like, what show is tonight? Oh, it's ours.
No, I knew. And honestly, like, I'd been trying to think of, like, so that's the two that I came up with. Like, I had those on the back burner. I just didn't vocalize them into the group chat to, like, for you guys to also contribute.
So yeah, so the first thing that I wanted to talk about, because Asa brought up a couple of topics. I really like the idea of the worlds of DC Universe. Now we're going to try and be the helms of this ship.
We're gonna be captains of ship DC movies,
and we're gonna see if there's we're gonna try and work through like how we would write this ship, because at the moment it's halfway through an iceberg.
Yeah.
Like it's not going well. they've got a couple of lifeboats out there with Aquaman and Wonder Woman. I think I've carried this metaphor as far as it can possibly go. I can't think of any more nautical stuff that it's going to be a stretch. Asa, don't even try it. You'll hurt yourself.
If only this was the name of a podcast, then I'd be on it. I'm really good at naming podcasts.
Except for real ones.
Okay, listen here. Are we keeping it swear free? Do we have to? Are we keeping it PG? Is that going to be in the cards? Because what I'm about to call you, I need.
You need permission.
I'm asking for a friend.
I don't know. No, this is the last episode of this show. Part of me wants to say go for it, but another part of me is like, we might have kids listening.
I don't think we do. I mean, like, if you're playing like Zane, do you play us for your children? Because why? And I apologize. But also at a certain point, that's on you.
He does not play the Thursday show in front of his kids, except for that one time we gave him the shout out. And then he had to explain to his children what cuckolding was.
Oh.
Because that's what Shannon threw out.
Of course.
Right after calling.
Of course it was.
Right after calling out Zane. Zane, by the way, is one of our wonderful fans.
He's one of the super fans.
That has reached out to us on Facebook.
And we have befriended.
Yes.
Let us befriend you.
Let us befriend you. Reach out to us on Facebook, facebook.com/Podzilla1985.
All I'm picturing is just the Mars Attacks aliens. Do not run. We are your friends.
That's us. All right, so we're going to try and figure out how to fix the worlds of the DC. What would we do?
Yeah. Which, yikes.
Yeah, I don't even know where to begin.
So
throw out Superman.
I've been thinking about it a lot lately. Because the more with the announcements of Flash being postponed again, but Aquaman getting a sequel in the next 2 years, the Suicide Squad's being rebooted, the Aquaman spin-off movie for the Trench. There's too much good, I think, to totally wipe it clean and start completely over. Because again, I enjoyed Justice League, particularly the last half of Justice League. If they had started at the end of Justice League, if that was their starting point, instead of building to that moment, I don't think they'd have a problem.
And really, I wouldn't give you last half, I'll give you last third. Because the first 2/3 were trying to very quickly establish backstories for all these characters they were introducing.
Which fair. Which again, you didn't like Justice League near as much as I did.
Correct.
So, which a lot of people didn't like Justice League as much as I did.
Yeah, no, and I still don't understand how.
Because it wasn't Suicide Squad or Batman v Superman.
So you went in with those expectations.
Those were my expectations, and then it was that thing. And I was even I've told the story before, but I went to that in it was a morning showing because I wasn't going to pay full price for that.
No.
And I was like, I woke up in a bad mood for some reason, and I'm like, all right, this is not going to go well. So maybe it was because I was cranky and because I had such low expectations. There were moments that I would be like, oh, I dug that. Well, I also dug that. And then at a certain point, halfway through, I was like, wait, do I just like this movie? I distinctly remember asking myself that. Wait, do I just like this? And then when I realized I did, and then it just kept getting better because it did things that it would set up these things that I was like, you can't just do this and not address it. And then 10 minutes later, oh, they addressed that thing that I needed them to address. Cool. Oh, this is neat.
This is new for a DC movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and it wasn't my complaints really weren't with how the story went. In my opinion, it was paced horribly.
And it was, and I'm not going to try to say that I'm not going to say that this held up to an MCU standard. I understand. I very much am aware that this was the best that we were going to get.
And see, basically, it's what I keep calling it. It's a solid popcorn flick, which is fine. If that's all you want from your superhero movies is a solid popcorn flick, then cool. You got it.
Yeah, but
you got your popcorn flick with some awesome characters, with some awesome actors doing really well at it. But then, at this point, I'm so spoiled by the MCU that I don't want just awesome popcorn flick out of my comic book movies.
This would have been the best, 99 to 2004 superhero movie that came out.
Yeah.
Because
definitely.
It very much feels like one of those.
I mean, I would have given it all the way up to 2008 almost. Because Iron Man came out in 2008 or 2009, right?
Something like that. I have no idea. I genuinely don't know.
Until Iron Man came out.
Didn't they just hit 20 years?
Yeah. No, surely not. 10 years.
Was it 10?
It's got to be 10.
It's probably 10. It's more than likely 10. Iron Man 1. It was 2008. So yeah, it hit 10 years.
So that came out
20 years. What is wrong with me?
I have no idea, because I was thinking like, no, that's 1999. I know that's not right.
Time is a flat circle.
Wait a minute.
I don't know what that means.
I don't either.
But he said it so convincingly. Anyway, so I do think the DC movies have enough good to prevent the whole thing being thrown out. I genuinely that Ben Affleck is no longer Batman.
Yeah.
As much as I hated his characterization in Batman v Superman, I super dug Ben Affleck as Bruce Wayne, as Batman. I thought he killed it.
I mean, you can go back.
And he is did you see the interview he did explaining why he's not in it?
No.
Because he's just like, he was so hard on himself. He just could not get the script where he wanted it. And if this was like a thing that he was doing solo, that's fine. But he's got Warner Brothers breathing down his neck at all times. Like, hey, how's it going? Doing good? What's going on? And so, which really kind of like, I think stressed him out a lot. So he eventually, that's when he decided to step away from, writing and creating and then ultimately starring in it.
Right.
Which is a super bummer because he is a genuinely huge Batman fan.
Yeah. Has a bat cave, folks.
Yeah. And not just like a man cave.
No.
A legitimate bat cave.
Yeah. Got the penny in there and everything. It's... you can go back to earlier episodes of Podzilla 1985 when it came out that Ben Affleck was going to be Batman. Mm-hmm. And from the very beginning, like everybody was like, I don't know. And I'm like, no, this is awesome. Mm-hmm. Ben Affleck, because I knew he cared about the character and I knew that he could absolutely hit that middle ground that every other actor is not able to hit both of. Like you've got Christian Bale, who is a phenomenal Bruce Wayne. Mm-hmm. But then you get him to Batman and where is he? Yeah.
You get the Pete Holmes.
They made a choice there.
Yeah.
And I didn't agree with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's either you're a great Batman or you're a great Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
No one has really been both yet.
Because Keaton was a great Batman, awful Bruce Wayne. Clooney was a great Bruce Wayne.
Clooney is going to be the best Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
Like there's no real.
Clooney was a phenomenal Bruce Wayne. Mm-hmm. Terrible Batman with terrible writing.
So bad.
And bat nipples.
Yeah, Dalton, we're talking about you. Idiot. He loves those movies.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. The movies are slightly more acceptable if you look at them as cheesy movies that are made inside the Batman universe.
Yeah, and I still say no.
No, they're still terrible.
Yeah, I don't. There is no lens that I can then put on them that those are acceptable to me.
They're not even solid popcorn flicks. I remember like when I saw those movies in theaters, because I saw both of them in theaters when I was a kid, because my dad is a huge Batman fan. Mm-hmm. Leaving those movies, even he was upset.
Oh, wow.
And my dad is one of those guys, like, his favorite actor of all time is Steven Seagal.
Did you see the GIF of the video going around of the laziest, tubbiest motherfucker, just like, just black as like he's swatting away a fly on a lazy Sunday afternoon.
Somebody paid him to be there,
and people are just flipping around. I gave Cody grief because he someone that he follows made the same joke I did, but a day later, it's like, y'all remember when Shawn Michaels wrestled Hulk Hogan? Just flipping around everywhere off of just the most mundane nonsense.
And see, I don't get that reference, but
I'll show you the video. It's
fair enough.
Fantastic.
And this GIF is also pretty fantastic. Going back, my dad's favorite actor is Steven Seagal. So it's not
that subreddit where it's the first time a sentence has been said.
That's not about a fictional character, because there is what is his name? Joe. It's not Joe Swanson, is it, from
Family Guy?
Family Guy?
I think so.
It is.
Yeah, it is.
Swanson. I couldn't remember it because whenever I think Swanson now, I think Ron Swanson.
Right.
Who's a far better Swanson.
Oh yeah.
But anyway, Joe Swanson. Obviously he likes Steven Seagal movies a whole lot. That is basically my dad. He's watching these movies and he's getting into it because Steven Seagal just kicking butt, breaking arms, breaking legs, fighting people, all this action and explosions. These are my dad's favorite movies. He did not like Batman and Robin.
Do Do you think that if they had cast Steven Seagal as Batman in those movies, he would have liked it more?
He would have been so conflicted. It's like, on the one. Well, because he wouldn't have been breaking everybody's bones and just killing everyone. Or he would have because he's Steven Seagal, and that's the only thing he knows how to do.
Quick question.
Uh-huh.
What killed the dinosaurs?
I
I hate that movie so much. Why are we still talking about this?
I don't know.
Oh, my
So back
God.
to the at this point, I feel like we could do a Flashpoint, and because a Flashpoint isn't a full reboot,
Right.
Like you could use it to keep around certain elements, and like they could make it clear.
And honestly, I kind of think that might be what they do, because you still have, because I mean, they'll have to do it eventually, or they'll have to do it sooner rather than later, because is the Flash movie, even though it's been like delayed forever, is it still supposed to come out before the new Batman movie?
Well, it's been delayed forever, and the Batman movie has a date.
Does it? Okay. I was,
Yeah.
because
Well, it has a time frame.
yeah,
I
it has a
guess.
window, but I thought Flash also still had a window.
Nope.
Okay, so never
Yeah.
mind. Because like that would be a good way. Like you have the Flash movie where again Barry does Barry things and he screws with the timeline. So okay, well now Batman is it's a younger Batman because that's the way that they seem to be looking for casting decisions. You can still have Momoa and Gal Gadot as Aquaman and Wonder Woman. You can still have Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn, because for all of the faults Suicide Squad had, she was not one of them.
Nope.
Like, she was a pretty fantastic Harley Quinn.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say Leto as Joker was a problem, but Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn, that was fine.
Hot take incoming, I don't think Leto, for all of the scummy stuff he did on set, I don't think his portrayal of Joker was as offensive as the character dynamics of Harley Quinn and Joker together.
Yeah, maybe
We
that was
didn't-
really my issue, is that I didn't like that Joker or the writing surrounding that Joker.
Yeah, so maybe and we really didn't get a lot of it. Like, I honestly don't think we got enough of that Joker for me to truly judge it. I hated the character design.
Yes.
I did hate that, and I hated the way that they wrote their dynamic, because
Yes.
it was totally missing the point.
Yes.
But again, I don't think he was necessarily the problem there.
Yeah, no, like, and I guess that when I say, like, I dislike Leto, okay, yeah, because I did say I disliked Leto as Joker. And, I mean, if they gave him a better Joker to play, maybe it would be better.
Right.
But, yeah, no,
as is,
that, yeah, I guess that Joker, Leto's Joker, I disliked. It may or may not have had anything to do with Leto.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I can say that pretty safely. I think.
yeah.
Confidently, that's a better word.
So yeah, like you have Flash, you have Barry go do Barry things. He comes back and stuff is all different. Except now, instead of it being Flashpoint where he has to go back and fix everything, now it's just, oh, this is they kind of do it like the TV show. Like, oh, this is the world that I've created. Like, you have him come back and things aren't, not Flashpoint to the point, where Atlanta and Amazon are at war. The Coke
Themyscira.
the Coke factory is under attack. Atlantis and Themyscira are at war. The world is about to end because of this, said war, all of that. Like, you can still have that plot, but when he gets back, a lot of stuff is different now. Okay, yeah, Aquaman's still Aquaman, Wonder Woman's still Wonder Woman. That's not Bruce. This isn't Clark. Because again, it's such a bummer that they've gotten such talented actors to play these iconic roles and totally fumbled the script and the storytelling aspect of it. Because again, Henry Cavill in the first 30 seconds of Justice League and the last act of Justice League,
After, like, he got his
amazing.
emotions back and
when he
everything,
got his
or
smile
brain
back.
yeah.
Yeah, when he recovered and
Yeah.
and was the Superman that we know and
Because
can appreciate.
The first 30 seconds of that movie very much was
He's
you know,
charming.
Yeah, no, that was the Boy Scout. Like that
Yeah.
that is Superman. And that's the way that he is versus, the entirety of Batman v Superman and the entirety of Superman. It's
And
the
Man of
joke-
Steel.
And Man of Steel, yeah. And there's the joke that I keep making, like he had more character in that first 30 seconds of Justice League than he had in the entire, like,
Two movies.
Yeah, 5-6 hours of screen time in the previous two films. Because and that was great. And I think Henry Cavill is a phenomenal casting choice for Superman because look at the man.
Oh yeah,
Like,
he's Yes, that's
Yeah, no, like that's what Superman would look like.
And as annoyed as I am, that's not fair. As much as I don't generally enjoy the Boy Scout character of Superman, that is Superman.
Yeah.
To try to make him this like brooding, dark,
They're trying to make him Batman with superpowers.
right, and it doesn't work.
No.
And that's not to say that you can't do that story, because the idea of you have this person who is different from everyone else. He wants nothing more than to fit in and to be like everyone else. The responsibility of having to be this icon and this example is not like, yeah, that can weigh on a person. And you can easily make that a dynamic. But it seemed like they went so hard on it. Like they totally removed, Superman is a symbol of hope, and they totally removed like all of the hope.
Yeah.
Like any bit of optimism was drained from him.
Yeah, every bit. He became this dark, brooding, angsty guy, and that's Superman can't be that.
Yeah, it doesn't fit. So
It's the antithesis of Superman.
right.
Yeah.
So yeah, they've made so many mistakes, and like I said, between Wonder Woman being a home run, Aquaman is a solid ground rule triple. Is that a baseball term? I know ground rule double's a thing, but it's better than a double, I think.
I think you just say a triple.
But it's not a hard triple.
Because I think like ground rule triple isn't that like
That's when it bounces over the wall, isn't it? And you just get that free double. Cody. Call Cody.
I need to hit up Cody real quick. No, because I don't know baseball that well.
Cody, call into the show.
I'm all about football.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no football. I can work with
Like,
you,
but Aquaman is a solid like 7.5 for me.
fair.
Maybe a 7, probably closer to a 7. Because again, terrible pacing issues, a lot of very unnecessary content in that movie, a lot of bloat that shouldn't be there. But the stuff that it does well, it does so well. I genuinely like was holding my breath during the trench scene, like, oh, this is legitimately like this is super cool. So, but yeah, like if you do like a Flashpoint type story setting where things are different, but now they're but it's not better for us.
Yeah, no,
But not
like
necessarily because then you can't have that the Justice League movie, because we still haven't really gotten a glimpse of Darkseid because we got Steppenwolf,
right.
or even the tease at the end of Justice League with the Legion of Doom potentially being set up.
Yeah, I would really be okay with, because we've got that established in comic books and even TV. Whenever Barry goes back and quote fixes the timeline, it breaks it completely.
Yeah, there's no such thing as fixing the timeline.
Yeah, and then he goes back and tries to fix it, and like it's a bandage on it. You can still see the cracks.
Well, and fixing it is always just, well, you've also broken it again, but now it's closer to what it used to be.
Yeah.
Oh, Diggle's son is now his daughter? Okay, that's acceptable.
Yeah, like, it's just a bunch of like just little things that are weird and off. And yeah, so like that has been established, and I'm fine with it. Like that's an interesting aspect of whenever you mess with time. Like there are repercussions, butterfly effect, all that other stuff, where just things happen that are different. And I'd absolutely be okay with whatever happened to the Waynes happened way later. Like they had a kid way later, and then they still died in an alleyway. We watched those pearls fall again, I guess. But
No.
you can have Superman coming about, but like somehow Ma and Pa Kent don't die. So, he's not all up, broody and sad because he had, this warm and loving upbringing. And, he's with Lois Lane and all this other stuff.
Which, I mean, I guess they did only kill Pa Kent.
I thought they killed Ma Kent too. I thought both of them were dead.
No, because did she end up dying?
I thought she was dead.
But not as a child, because Pa Kent died when he was a kid.
Yeah.
But Ma Kent still had the house. No, because she was going to lose the house, but then Bruce bought it. He bought the farm. No, I'm sorry. He bought the bank.
That's right.
The bank was foreclosing on the farm, and he bought the bank.
Yeah. No, yeah, I do remember that. So that he...
Because it was just a quick little 10-minute train ride from Gotham City to...
to Smallville. It's... Woosah.
Deep breaths.
Yeah, because honestly, if that happened in Man of Steel, like anything that happened in Man of Steel, I tried to watch that movie now twice, and I fell asleep both times. I'm not the kind of person that falls asleep during movies.
Yeah.
Like I don't do that. There's only a handful. And yeah, no, Man of Steel was just boring. I already find Superman boring. This was a boring version of Superman. But anyway,
Yeah, it was.
so yeah, they could have a situation like that where, you know, his upbringing was better because, yeah, Pa Kent didn't die. Ma Kent, I guess she's still alive, so cool. They still stay alive, and you don't have this Uncle Ben situation going on because, you know, they need to take what's working in Marvel, I guess. I really don't know a lot of their choices that they made because they made a lot of choices. And I don't... They were choices.
They sure did.
They sure did. So yeah, like all of these things you could use to fix the timeline and make this better. Because yeah, like it's true, the Dark Knight trilogy and anything Batman related is dark and brooding because it's Batman.
Right.
That's not what Marvel should have. At this point, Warner Brothers should have learned from Marvel that dark and brooding and edgy isn't what we necessarily want from every comic book movie.
Yeah.
Like, it's nice to have in Batman.
Imagine if the Guardians of the Galaxy were all just like super emo.
Yeah. Or Iron Man.
I might watch that, especially if it was James Gunn. Oh God, that's just Suicide Squad.
That is literally Suicide
God.
Squad. But yeah, like that's... Marvel has shown us that like we like our comic book movies. They can be fun
Bright
and colorful
yeah.
and bright and still be a good movie and still make bukus of cash.
Just real quick, how excited are you for Captain Marvel?
So excited.
The more I think about it, like, because at the time I was very much like, I don't care about Ant-Man and Wasp, I don't care about Captain Marvel, just give me Endgame. But like the closer it gets and like the more I see about it and how excited like everybody who's a part of that movie is, like
I'm hyped for
I'm
this
so
movie.
excited.
I love Brie Larson.
Maybe that's what we should do Friday.
Ooh, that's not a bad idea since we ain't playing D&D and it's coming out running. Because I was planning on seeing it Saturday morning. I know the movie theater is going to be packed. I don't care.
We should probably... Saturday morning's not a bad idea because it'll be cheaper, but we should get our tickets, like, now.
Probably.
Anyway.
It's not a bad idea.
Moving forward.
Yeah, so, no, I'm hyped for my Captain Marvel. So, yeah, Marvel has proven. Look at Thor Ragnarok. Like, I mean, that had some, like... I know, like, you weren't as big a fan of that.
Oh, yeah,
as, like,
I know.
most people,
I am in the vast minority of people who
Tiny
just didn't...
minority.
Yeah. It might just be me. There's a solid chance it's only me.
Ace Gray's the only one out there who's like, I don't get the hype. Like everybody else, what? At least everybody else in our group, that's absolutely true.
Oh no,
like,
it's everybody else. It's everybody else. Like it is consistently ranked in the top 5 Marvel movies. Like, and it's it's not that I didn't enjoy it. It's just it seemed. I had my criticisms of it. That's a whole other. That's a whole other show.
Like it's a movie that had like it had some dark moments. It had some low moments, but it also had like humor, which we've been through this, but
a lot of comedy.
There was a lot of humor to it, a lot of lightheartedness at the same time, a whole lot of action.
And going from like the Dark World to Ragnarok, it seems like you can very easily tell their creative team behind it. Like it feels like a whole other franchise.
And yeah, no, like it sold a ridiculous amount of money. Like you said, a lot of people put it in top 5 Marvel movies of all time, which is a prestigious list right there.
Oh yeah.
Because
because like the worst Marvel movie is like a 6.
Yeah. Yeah. Like the worst Marvel movie. Okay, that's not true. I was about to say the worst Marvel movie is still better than the best DC movie, but that's not entirely true. But I still wouldn't put if we were bundling DC and Marvel, Wonder Woman wouldn't make top 10 for me.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like she would definitely make top 15, but she would not make top 10.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, because that's
because Marvel's just been killing it. Like it's almost unfair to compare the two.
Exactly. I was going to say it's not a dig at Wonder Woman at all. Like Wonder Woman was a fine film, but compared to the stuff that Marvel's been pumping out, like other movies don't make it in the list. Like not comic book related. It's just yeah. So DC, we don't need our movies to be dark, gritty, and broody, because outside of like I said, I haven't seen Aquaman, but that is likely the only film in the franchise That's not dark, gritty, and broody.
And it's still kind of like, it definitely has its grimmer moments. But Jason Momoa plays that character so well, and he is such just a bro. it kind of, and his supporting cast was really, really good too. Like, I mean, I'm worried that I'm overhyping it for you. I honestly don't know if you would like it more than, like, if you took, I genuinely think that if, like, you removed the first 2/3 of Justice League, you will like Aquaman as much as that last third.
That's fair. I liked that last
Like,
third a lot.
It'll probably be like, it's a good popcorn movie.
Yeah. The only thing I didn't like about that last third is how they treated Batman.
Yeah, which, again, I get it. Like, Batman's role in this one, and Batman is my superhero. Like, Batman is my number one of all time, no question. Like,
Yeah.
nothing even really comes close. The race for second is much closer, but it's always Batman. But even I understand, like, that was his place. Okay, because this makes sense. All right, you have all of these crazy superpowered abilities, and yeah, you're just a dude in a suit with a bunch of money and a lot of combat experience. It makes sense what they did with him there. What doesn't make sense is, hey, this character who's always been very staunchly against killing is now just murdering people, and we're not acknowledging it. Like, that's just normal.
Yeah, that's annoying.
Like,
and also,
it's much less of a leap. Like, yeah, I would love for Batman to have been the big kick-ass, like, I'm the one who broke the code and, like, figured everything out, because that's how he is in the comic books.
and that story has happened.
But it's also, like, that is his superpowers, plot armor, and being as effective as he needs to be.
Yeah, because
Even if it's completely unrealistic.
Because he's easily the smartest. He's supposed to be anyway, the smartest person on the team, minus I guess
Cyborg.
technically Cyborg.
Yeah.
And even in the comic books, Cyborg is like knows more, but Batman's better at figuring stuff out.
Yeah.
Because he's world's greatest detective and all that stuff. So yeah, no, you've got that kind of situation. Yeah, his hand to hand should be at least to a point where he can fight one-on-one with the aliens, but he very much could not.
But should he? Because, like, these are, like, super-powered aliens.
I didn't see any, like, of them being super powered.
I just assumed they were because they're aliens and they're always, like... why would you make an alien invading race if they're just, like, people but they can fly?
There's a lot of them.
Yeah.
It's the horde mechanic.
Right, but even, like, the horde, like, the one-on-one numbers against people like Wonder Woman and Aquaman.
I mean, Aquaman and Wonder Woman were shredding through them like tissue paper.
Yeah, I guess
And
that's
Superman
true.
just, obviously did what Superman did. So, yeah, like, even Flash was taking him out.
I will say that was actually something I was getting ready to point out is I did dig how he's not a fighter. Like, at this point in his,
The Flash?
Yeah, the Flash. Yeah. Barry was not a fighter, like, at all.
Yeah.
Bruce literally just had to be like, you move so fast, just push him.
Yep.
And that'll work. And it did. Like, that's another thing that I really would have loved to see in a sequel of, like, Bruce training Barry, like, how to actually fight.
Basically give us the same thing that we got with Ollie and Barry in the actual CW show.
Oh, that's another thing that I would do is I would just combine the two
universes.
I would combine the universes.
Fire Ezra and
see, and I don't even think Fire Ezra. Like, I genuinely think that because that's what I actually expect them to do. Is I think that they are going to really lean into this worlds of DC, and they are going to so everything that we've gotten so far is Earth 3. Like, you just pick a generic Earth number.
Yeah, because if they're sticking with CW, like, they have Earth 1.
Right.
And like the Earth CW universe is Earth 1.
Right.
And then like even Supergirl's not in Earth 1. She's in Earth, like, I don't remember the
Earth
number
whatever.
they
But
assigned
so
to
you
her.
have all of these options for the various Earths.
Yeah.
Up to whatever the number is. It's
52.
Like, okay, yeah. So you have the 52 Earths. And and even in Flash, who's done the most with the Earth stuff, like, they haven't really explored very many of them, like 5 or 6 tops. So then you have, these are then happening in Earth whatever. So, but then you have that event where, this is all actually happening simultaneously. There's like a singularity event, whatever.
There's a convergence of these Earths.
Something happens
because of this timeline
that combines certain elements into these other elements, and then
you got like 5 berries at once, all flash pointing.
Exactly, and you can keep them separate. That's how you can then have Then you have Grant Gustin as Flash still, but then you don't have to pretend that those don't exist. They're just on different Earths.
Right.
That's fine. And then whatever Ezra Miller does brings these other Earths, so now this new Batman, the younger Batman, now he's been brought into this established Justice League Earth. Same thing with potentially the Suicide Squad reboot.
And I mean, they could even keep it where, like, you know,
Like that's what I think they'll do. Minus the CW stuff. I don't think that they're going to acknowledge the CW stuff enough. I think they are going to, which is a crime because those performances are phenomenal.
yes.
But I do think that that's how they're going to do a workaround. I don't think they're necessarily, especially with Flash's movie being kind of delayed indefinitely. I think that's what is going to end up happening is they bring in there's some sort of event in whatever upcoming movie that there is, and that's what establishes the various Earths. So you write out, you kill off, it would suck if it's off screen, but like Batfleck is killed off, or
Henry Cavill.
Henry Cavill disappears or something.
So you have like these new actors just pop on the screen, like they kind of replace them because they
like Wonder Woman or
maybe
Flash or Cyborg, because he's got experience with the boom tubes. He can tell like, oh, we're not, like, he figures out the ability to move from Earth to Earth. So then it turns into kind of a reverse Justice League where you have your core group with Flash, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Cyborg, Harley Quinn if they decide to bring her on, and they have to go and find
replacements.
They have to go find a Superman. They have to go find a Batman.
Or they can even have like where it's like a crisis basically that pulls all like 5 different Earths together. And at this point, Henry Cavill dies and Batfleck dies.
Kind of what they did with Rebirth.
Right, and conveniently, the Earths that this Batman and this Superman would return to,
they lost their Justice League.
They lost their Earth.
Oh yeah,
like their flashpoint was so severe that their Earth was decimated.
It's insalvageable.
Yeah,
that's unsavable.
Cannot possibly go back. And so conveniently, like, well, we need replacement Batman and Superman. So I mean, Bruce Wayne is still Bruce Wayne, baby.
And they did that with Trinity to an extent, with the DC Rebirth that I really loved, because now original Superman was killed off, and now they've brought in this other Superman who has been living on this Earth. But they have a Superman. I can just have a life with Lois.
Yeah, because there were also 2 Loises, weren't there?
Yep, there were 2 Loises, and then Lois ends up, the original OG Lois dies as well.
Yeah.
So, but now he's brought in as the Justice League. Batman doesn't trust him. He knew Clark. He knew his Superman. He trusted that Superman. This isn't my Superman. You have to rebuild all of that trust all over again.
Yeah, because this is a guy that sat idly by.
Exactly.
During like all sorts
countless
of stuff he could help with
and stuff like that. Yeah. So I really dug that aspect, and that's something they could kind of dig into too.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, no, like there's a lot of things they could and probably should do, but because they haven't done much right.
But I still think I will say, like, the last 3 movies they've done have been good. Like good to really, really good, with Wonder Woman being borderline great. So it makes me think that they're like they see what they've done, and now they are trying to. Yes, they have put themselves in a terrible corner that they shouldn't have been in, but they are going to try to. They're gonna try to. They see some steps that they need to take.
Yeah.
So I'm remaining cautiously optimistic. Shazam is going to do a lot to reinforce or obliterate that hope. Because if Shazam is awful, then I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, because that's going to be one of those things. Like Shazam being bad will have a couple of like fallout effects. The primary of which being proving to WB that fun movies don't work.
Yeah.
Because Shazam definitely looks like it's going to be lighthearted, fun, and entertaining.
Which it needs to be.
Yeah, that is Shazam. Yeah. Shazam is not like dark, gritty. There's literally no way to make him that way. They have tried that.
They've done it multiple times.
Yeah, the comic book tried to make Billy a much more tragic backstory. And they made him a little dickhead. And then he got the powers and was a dickhead. But anyway... they need to make this lighthearted and fun, and from the trailers, that's what it seems like it's going to be. It's going to be lighthearted, it's going to be fun, we're going to have a good time, there's going to be some action, and there's going to be some, the hero is going to face challenges and stuff.
Right.
But in general, like, it's going to be a fun ride. If this movie tanks, that will prove to WB, or at least, like, that will be proof enough for WB to say, nope, Suicide Squad made so much money. And that's... money. That's what it's talking with. Like, they don't care what the reviews and the critics say. Like, it's what is making money. And if Shazam doesn't, top the box office, Which, when does that movie come out? Because it's soonish, isn't it?
It's relatively soon. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure.
Because like part of me wonders, like, did they put this in May?
They did just
because that would be really dumb.
They did just release the second trailer. I think last week or was it this week? The only trailer that I can April 5th.
Yeah, I just saw that. So they're going to put Shazam out in between Captain Marvel and Endgame.
Yep.
We're getting Captain Marvel this week. 1 month later, we're getting Shazam, and then less than a month after that, we're getting Endgame.
Yeah, April 26th.
Yeah.
So like 21 days later.
Yeah. We're getting Endgame. Why? Because I feel like I've known this before, but it just didn't register until now. Mm-hmm. Why, Warner Brothers? Why do you think that's a good idea?
To be fair, they're not putting it up against either of those movies. If they tried to do even within like 2 weeks, bad idea.
I think
it would get blown out of the water. This is a decent little stopgap between, all right, I got Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel was great. Can't wait for Endgame. But I need something to scratch that superhero itch. Oh, Shazam's out.
The other Captain Marvel.
The one that they can't call it that anymore. For obvious reasons.
Yeah. No, it's I agree with you sort of. Mm-hmm. Except
I'm not saying it's good logic.
Yeah, no,
that's
they
just
picked
the only logic I can think of.
If they were going to put it between those two films, they got the best possible time to do it.
Yep.
They should not have put it between those two films because basically as soon as Endgame hits, which is, as you mentioned, 3 weeks later, as soon as Endgame hits, no one's watching Shazam.
No other movies out.
No one's watching Shazam.
No one's watching any other theatrical release. There are no movies coming out that week.
The box office for Shazam has closed.
Yep.
It will not make any more money. Mm-hmm. Like, it will not make any significant amount of money after Endgame releases.
Yeah.
So you basically put...
Unless it turns out Shazam is really, really fun and we need something uplifting after watching the trauma-inducing Endgame. Maybe they're brilliant. Maybe they know.
Look, that's not going to happen.
Also, I don't know enough about when these launch dates were settled on. So it's very easily... This could have easily been like, hey, this is our spot. We're coming out April 5th. And then like a month later, Captain Marvel opens this date. Endgame, release date, this. Well, but...
Warner Brothers just like, but Marvel, please.
Why? You're just
Disney.
Maybe this was a contracted hit. Just like, we see you got your nice little release date there. Which historically Marvel puts out 3 movies a year and roughly around these same time periods with with Homecoming coming out in July. Mm-hmm.
I feel like they should have waited, given like in game maybe a month and a half to exit theaters, or give it to us before Captain Marvel.
See, but you can't really do that because like before Captain Marvel would have been their best bet because
now it's not being compared to.
Well, and also once Endgame leaves theaters, Spider-Man's there.
Yeah,
you're gonna tell me that's I wouldn't be surprised if Endgame wasn't still in theaters by the time Spider-Man comes out.
I mean, I'm sure it would be. Into the Spider-Verse is still in theaters, I found out.
Oh, don't tell me that.
It aired last weekend in theaters.
Not in this one?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Mother...
I actually meant to text you about it. Because I think it's part of their like Oscar thing that they're doing. I don't think it's still been in theaters.
That doesn't count. Special event doesn't count. I'm talking like regular release because I wanted to go see it because we tried to look for times and that's when I was like, oh, Lego Movie 2's out. I need to go see that.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
You ended up seeing Lego Movie 2, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Yeah, I liked it quite a bit.
Did that song get stuck in your head?
For that hour, like.
Oh, it's been like every other day since I saw it.
Fair enough. Yeah, no, I don't know. I've been listening to
that and the Queen whatever I want.
Whatever I want to be.
Yeah, her song at the beginning is like, this isn't a great first impression. Like just those little background vocals.
Yeah,
like that was super catchy. So that's stuck with.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of songs in that movie that are super duper catchy. Mm-hmm. And it's just like everything is awesome. Like that song is super duper catchy.
And then they got the Lonely Island to work with Beck.
Yeah. I'm really
What the
bummed
world?
that song was just like,
A jokey credit song.
yeah.
Same, but at the same time, like it's still super catchy.
Yeah, no,
Just
like
really good.
there's parts of it that are really catchy, but it's not something I would put on a Spotify playlist.
I might have. Also, speaking of Spotify playlists, I don't know who needs to hear this, but the Leica version songs and the covers, there's a big playlist. A bunch of those got uploaded to Spotify. I don't know how recently, because I regularly forget that it wasn't on Spotify, because Churches does a cover of Do I Want to Know by the Arctic Monkeys, and it's almost as good as the original, but it's different. For those who don't know, Like a Version was a YouTube series, not a YouTube series, but like a radio station in, I think it was the UK somewhere, would bring in musical guests, and they would essentially be like, hey, pick a song that you want to pick a song that you really enjoy and just cover it live in the studio. And they would do it. And for a while, it was leading on to like that week's guest would play a song done by the following week's guest.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. I don't think that rotation, that pattern held up for a long stretch of it, and it kind of just turned into like greatest hits covers, which was still phenomenal. So there's a huge chunk of those on Spotify, and I highly recommend checking them out.
All right. So yeah, we've all right, Warner Brothers, we've told you how to fix the Worlds of DC Universe. So you just,
I don't want that evil on me.
I mean,
Because like even if they follow our advice and the advice was just bad, like in theory it sounds good.
the advice is fine. They just need to get writers that can make it happen.
If they can execute us.
Yeah.
Execute it, not us.
I was about to say,
Warner-
why you putting a hit out
Warner
on us?
Brothers.
Like,
To me, RL for me.
all right, so
RL.
we got 15 minutes left.
Has this not been an hour?
No.
Oh, it feels like it's been so long.
All right.
Maybe it's because I'm really hungry. Maybe it's because I want to play Anthem. Maybe it's because I want to. I ended up watching one more episode than I wanted to of American Vandal season 2 last night because I finally went back and was like, oh yeah, I need to finish this.
It's solid. I enjoyed season 2, not as much as season 1. But anyway, Pokemon. So we're going to talk about Pokemon. One thing that, if you listened to us on Nerd Up this past Sunday, Asa was not particularly excited about, or he was a little let down by the.
I was let down by the direct.
and
In the seeming direction that Sword and Shield is from the 7 minutes of news that we've gotten on it, which again is not truly enough to form a real opinion. And I will be watching this like a hawk because I so desperately want to love a Pokemon game. Because I love Pokemon.
And it's one of those things, like whenever I watch this direct, like I mentioned on Sunday a little bit, that I got exactly what I thought I was going to get out of this direct. Like everything that I guess that I thought would happen in this direct happened.
Right.
Like nothing more, nothing less. Like I got basically
Starters in region and a little bit of gameplay.
starters region gameplay, like and the bare basics of the gameplay.
Yeah.
So I got to see like the random encounters and everything come back, but I was like cautiously optimistic and. Like I kind of agree. I agree with Asa. Like he was hoping like they would Breath of the Wild it, just something completely whole new, different in the franchise. And I was hoping at least, I obviously not Breath of the Wild, but I was hoping for something new and different in the Pokemon universe because we've got like they're giving us a main Pokemon game on the main console release
For the first time
ever. We have never gotten like a main Pokemon game on
an actual RPG, an actual Pokemon RPG
on a
main
console.
generation on a console.
Yeah, no, that's never happened. It's always been a handheld. Which I mean, you can argue that the Switch is handheld all you want. It's a console that you can take handheld.
But it isn't being marketed as the handheld console.
Right.
The Switch is yes, it is succeeding the 3DS. The 3DS seems to very much be winding down in its lifetime.
Yep.
Which congrats to the 3DS because it was a huge success for Nintendo as
Oh,
well.
yeah.
But there's literally no. At this point in either the GBA's life cycle or even the DS's life cycle, there were rumors and rumblings of what was coming next. We have none of that because this very Nintendo hit a grand slam. That is a baseball reference, I know. In that, they're killing it on the home console market and as a handheld.
Yeah, so much so that they're
they're
talking
not gonna-
about releasing the system as just handheld.
Yep.
A strictly handheld version of the system. And yeah, no, it's a phenomenal system. It's a wonderful system. So yeah, whenever I got like this actual console version, I was hoping for something different.
And I think I might have also and this is on me. Like I don't think Nintendo really has any sort of obligation to advance that franchise any more than what they're doing with Sword and Shield. Because again, we don't know exactly. I'm sure there will be new mechanics and new things added to it.
Yeah.
But like, I think this is on me for just kind of letting the hype train get off the rails, because especially when we got Let's Go, and it's like, oh, all right, well, they're giving us a simplified version of Pokemon to kind of introduce people to, the general gameplay loop and the idea of how it works. They also made a lot of great improvements, like totally removing HMs.
God, yes.
In that they fill out they require like a move slot. No HMs. The Pokemon are following us again. The no more random battles. You actually see the wild Pokemon in the overworld. Like a lot of great things that would make the next mainline Pokemon game even better. And now that we've got this kind of baseline for what Pokemon is, this really kind of opens up the possibilities of what Gen 8 could actually be. And just it's instead we're just getting, it's just Gen 8. Like it seems very cookie cutter Nintendo Pokemon formula.
It absolutely is. And like everything we got from that direct, it looks prettier. Like,
it
looks like, it looks like Let's Go.
Right.
For the most part. It's just, it looks like they took the graphics from Let's Go and then applied the cookie cutter Pokemon system to it. Mm-hmm. Which, I mean, they might change it up a little bit because we did get a pretty significant change to like the core gameplay in Sun and Moon. But it was still like the same general idea.
Yeah, I mean, like the
because they changed the way the gym battles works.
Kahuna Pokemon or whatever they were called. No, because the Kahunas were the replacements for the gym leaders.
Yep.
Ish, but there were trials, and then there were the Island Spirit Pokemon.
Yes.
Like those were different enough. But the Kahuna leaders, the Kahunas were essentially just the gym leaders.
Because you still had like you basically still had you had to go and beat all 8 of them.
Mm-hmm.
I think there were 8. There may have only been 4. Now that I'm thinking about it.
No, there was more than 4.
Either way.
There were 4 islands, and I think each one had like 1 or 2. There may have been 6. I don't know. It doesn't matter.
Because I was thinking it was like a Kahuna and a Pokemon that you had to beat on each island.
But there were light puzzle solving elements to certain ones.
But you still had get your starter Pokemon. It's one of 3 types. You have your rival.
Not just one of 3 types. Fire, grass, water.
Yeah, the 3 types. Mm-hmm. You have your rival. Your rival is going to get the Pokemon that has advantage over you. You have your professor, you have the evil team that's trying to do bad, which, I mean, the bad thing they do is different in every game, but it's still...
And sometimes they're less outright evil. Sometimes they want to destroy the world. Sometimes they're just like, hey, maybe don't treat them like dogfights.
Yeah. See, sometimes it's not so bad, sometimes it's bad, sometimes they want to, like you said, destroy the world entirely. Mm-hmm. Sometimes they just want to own all the Pokemon and straight up mafia.
Yeah. That can only be brought down by a 10-year-old. You can't look into it. You can't look real hard into it.
No, you cannot. You cannot take those stories too seriously. Mm-hmm. So yeah, like I would like to see a departure from that, like something different. Like I like the gym leaders and everything, but I don't know. I wanted it to be. I'm okay with that like core storyline and everything, but I wanted mechanically for it to look like I would kill for. I know I said like this wasn't what I was expecting or even hoping for, but like Breath of the Wild, where it's completely 3D environments.
Yep.
Like you can actually interact and stuff like that. You see the Pokemon coming. Your top Pokemon can still follow you and everything. Mm-hmm. Like basically do what they did with Let's Go, but make it more like Zelda style, like Breath of the Wild. Mm-hmm. Like where you
a little bit more action RPG.
Yeah.
And I'm fine with the turn-based system in this. I'm one of the things that
turn-based is something that's never going away in Pokemon.
Yeah, and and I am at terms with that. The one thing that I really wish though is that they would get rid of the way that it's
the way they interact
now.
With each other.
The terrible little Game Boy quality animations.
Yes.
And soundbite and I'm like, man, you have the anime. Why can't you use the voice clips for those Pokemon in the actual game? We have that technology now.
Because
we've had that technology for a very long time.
Mm-hmm. Because they all come out with the same, like the 8-bit sound effects.
The MIDI cell phone.
Yeah. They come out with except for Pikachu. Pikachu gets to come out Pika.
That's what drives me nuts, is Pikachu gets his full range of voice lines, and that's it.
And it's not like, they need a bunch of complicated ones. Even with the sound bites, they all come out with a sound bite. It's never different.
Yeah.
So you can have like, just go for, like you said, the anime, grab whatever's in the anime, and that's the new soundbite.
Right.
It doesn't need to be varied and changed. It already isn't. And then like the battle system in general, I always like Pokemon Stadium on the Nintendo 64 had better and more interesting looking interactions between the Pokemon on the field.
Yes.
Than like any game following, other than like your Pokken tournament and stuff like that. And I don't need it to go full Pokken tournament, but like have it where they actually like if they're gonna scratch, have them go up and scratch. Don't give me like the 3 pixelated lines
where they just
through
like
the
move their
enemy Pokemon.
arm and then the 3 like
Yeah,
scratch marks go across the other Pokemon. Like
Yeah, like
that stuff's
it's that worked on the Game Boy. It made sense. Like even Game Boy Advance, like once you got to the 3DS, that stopped making sense.
Yeah, it I don't want to use the word lazy, but it kind of feels lazy.
Yeah, it absolutely is.
Because I would have loved, and don't get me wrong, like my dream Pokemon game is not turn-based. It is very much like the anime, where it's just like you take control of whatever Pokemon you're using,
And you go like every fight is Pokken tournament.
and it's like more of an action RPG than a fighting game. Like not full fighting game, but kind of ish. But anyway,
You still got combos and like you actually input stuff and everything like that.
not even combos. Just like you have like your 4 face buttons are an attack, are like so you can still only have the 4 attacks, whatever.
So you just kind of move around and you just
Right,
hit
but
one
you're
of the 4
actually
buttons.
moving around and you're trying to, and you still have to worry about PP, and it's be interesting. Again, I'm not a game designer. I don't know. This could be a terrible, terrible idea.
Yeah, you could have a situation like I think Final Fantasy 12. I didn't get too into the Final Fantasy game. Somebody can correct me on this, but that's where they started having like it's like a halfway real time combat where like you use a move and that move goes on cooldown for a while and then you can hit a different move and like you can use them simultaneously and they only have so many moves you can do.
Yeah.
But like I see what you're saying.
Yeah, something like that. But more importantly to me, like I would want, like you said, a completely 3D explorable open world.
Yeah.
Do away with HMs. Do away with like you can have certain areas gated off, like. Like Victory Road, you can't go unless you have 8 badges. But like I want to see like how in the Pokemon anime, how like when Ash only has like 3 badges and Gary's got 12 already, because there's more than just the 8 gyms.
Right.
Like have this giant open world where there are a bunch of different gyms that you can just go and challenge, but it's not like you have to go to each town in a certain order, either because the exploration is cut off because it requires an HM you don't have, or just that's the linear way that you have to go.
Yeah.
You can go and take on any gym in any
time.
order, because the gym leader, what Pokemon they use is determined, what team they use is determined on your Pokemon's level on your team.
Yeah.
So like, if I decide to go after Misty first instead of Brock, or if I go up against, Blaine, the 7th gym leader, first.
Because they even had that in like that little like mini cartoon they did, like the mini series, where you had like whenever he went to fight Brock, like Ash went to fight Brock, and he was like, like this is your first gym, so I'll grab Geodude and Onix, like he grabbed out a couple of those bad boys,
Whereas
having like an entire like set of Pokeballs back there,
Right.
And I really like that as a concept where it's like, and it makes sense. Not everybody's starting in Pallet Town and going to Pewter City.
Literally, no one else is starting in Pallet Town. It's you and your rival. That's it.
That's it. So yeah, it would make sense then that like Pewter City isn't just the weakest gym in the area, and like somebody that grew up over in Vermilion City can just come down and thrash you,
Right.
Because like chump.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, like I like that system where you can go to like basically go back to Breath of the Wild. You can do any of the 4 dungeons at any time, which honestly that's been a feature in some Zelda games for a while now, but
Not as many as I would like.
not
That's
near
another
as
show.
many. Yeah, no, the Zelda is mostly linear. Most Zelda games are linear, but yeah, you had like Breath of the Wild and like Link Between Worlds and stuff like that. You can go to whatever dungeon you wanted any time you wanted.
Yeah.
And have the same thing. Like however many badges you have, determines what team you fight. Easy peasy.
Right.
And
And even, but like, so, because I would love just that to be able to that sense of traversal between towns. And eventually you'll get, you can't surf right away until you actually catch a Pokemon that you could actually ride on.
Yeah.
You do eventually have to learn Fly. Like someone has to teach that to Pidgeotto. Because yeah, Pidgeotto can fly, but to safely travel from city to city
With
riding
the passenger.
Pidgeotto, you have to teach that to the Pokemon. Like you have to teach that to the Pokemon. It won't take up a move slot, but things like that.
You have to teach them to carry a passenger.
So you can still there are certain gated things you can do there. The other big thing, because I know we're running short on time, that I would do is with the Elite Four. That is hardcore end game content. That is where that's not the end of the game. That's post you have beaten whatever organization, you've defeated your rival. The Elite Four is now what you're going up for as your end game. Once
because you want to be the best of the best.
Exactly.
Now.
And then once you beat the Elite Four, you're free to go catch whatever other Pokemon you have. If there's other gyms you haven't defeated yet, they're like, oh, you're the champion. I really have to step my game up. Go back and re-challenge other gyms that you've already defeated. Like, oh, hey, you were the first gym I beat. This is how much I've grown. Let me take another crack at your better team. Mm-hmm. Stuff like that. But the thing that I think would be super cool is every so often, like every, few in-game days or weeks or however long you want to do it, get a call from the Pokemon League and say, hey, this person is challenging the Elite Four. You need to come to your station.
Oh, yeah, to be like the
so
final
you have
champion.
you have to defend your title as Pokemon champion against, imagine a randomly generated team. Like, you've got your 6 best Pokemon. It's not that thing where you can kind of cheese, like, okay, these are the 4 trainers I have to beat, or these are the 5 trainers I have to beat, so this one will take out this one will take out this one.
Right.
Imagine just like, nope, this is just, here's some high-level opponents of this is their team. Because that's always another thing that I kind of was bummed about, is that it's like, yeah, every other trainer you have is unaware that you can have more than one type.
Yeah, because they wanted to make, like, the Elite Four has always been like, I specialize in dragons. Mm-hmm. I specialize in
gym
poison.
Leaders too.
Yeah,
Which
gym leaders make sense.
Gym leaders, it makes sense. It's whenever I'm on the road to the gym leader of just like, oh, ace trainer so-and-so. If you're an ace trainer, one, why do you only have 3 Pokemon? You know you can carry more than that. And really, you think you're going to trounce me with all 3 of your Growliths? Like,
that's
I'm
all
sorry,
you can find in that area.
I'm sorry, I have something that knows Water Gun.
Too bad for you. Too bad for you. Yeah, like I agree. Like I would like some more variety there in those kind of situations. And like I said, the gyms, it absolutely makes sense for them to all, like, have all the same type. Mm-hmm. The Elite Four, it doesn't. Like, those should just be like, the Elite Four should just be elite trainers that have, like, beaten all of the gyms. Mm-hmm. Like, they are Pokemon masters.
Right.
And, they have an elite team. It doesn't need to be themed.
See, an Elite Four kind of feels, to me, that's always just felt like they are the next evolution to gym trainers. Like, my headcanon has always been every person that's in the Elite Four used to run a gym.
Which is fine.
Like, because I have such, like, a combination of the games and the anime. Like, my headcanon for Pokemon is kind of nuts on how that economy and that system works. In that, because the Pokemon League seems to be this organization. Like, there is a panel of people in charge of making decisions. And, like, there's a certification process you have to go through to be able to open a gym. Like, stuff like that I think would be kind of interesting to explore. Not necessarily in a game or even a movie, just, like, throwaway lines here or there. But so I've always imagined that, like, the Elite Four are, like, your top tier. They used to run a gym. Now they have been invited to be the Elite Four. What if the Elite Four changes every year? What if, there's all these just different things that only make sense to me because it's all in my head. That's why I've never had a problem with the Elite Four being themed.
I mean, I don't have a problem with it, like, because that's the way it's always been, and that's fine. Mm-hmm. But in terms of just, like, in my opinion, like, I do just feel like the Elite Four, especially, like, since the idea is when you become the champion, like, you're the last fight, like, for everybody that follows. You have to, like you said, defend your title, and you never started a gym. Mm-hmm. You never, like, went through any of that process. So to me, it makes the most sense that the rest of the Elite Four, like, yeah, you could say, like, they're the baddest of the baddest gym leaders in the land,
right?
And they're coming to do this, but that to me doesn't make as much sense because they're not training anyone. They don't have, like, maybe if you actually set up, like, they come from this gym. Like these trainers are like the best of the best. But I would personally prefer it like, you have gym leaders, and then you have like the actual like trying to think of a better way to use this metaphor that I was thinking of here. Because basically I was trying to think of something different between like, teachers and actual professionals.
Right.
Like you have the gym leaders are, your trainers, your teachers. Like they teach you how to deal with these mechanics. Like each of them have their own mechanic, and it kind of teaches you learn a thing or two. And then you get to like the Elite Four are the actual professionals. They're the ones that are doing what you're doing. But, they've been doing it for a while, and you need to prove that you're better than them. I don't know. I kind of like that idea personally.
And I also kind of like, what if the Elite Four were former champions?
Yeah.
Because like Lance used to be the champion.
Right.
So, like, oh, well, you were a champion, but now you've been ousted. But now you're still, in that top 4. Like you're still one of the top 5 trainers in the region. That's the other thing is that I've always wanted just basically a giant open MMO, but not an MMO, but an MMO scale. Of just being able to travel like region to region, and that's how you get the Pokemon. Like that's how there are certain Pokemon that only appear in Johto or Kanto.
So you can go to like those maps, like have it World of Warcraft sized.
Yeah. Which again, I understand that the 90% of what I'm talking about and asking for is unrealistic.
Because that would be a colossal game.
Yes, that the Switch would not be able to handle. Like that would have to be like an Xbox One X, PS4 Pro, PC game.
Yeah,
high-end PC game. Like and again,
where like a lot of the data is streamed.
Yeah, I understand that. I do. I just wish that they were taking more steps towards that, or just forward in general, as opposed to what it looks like now is a very linear map, a very clear. This is the path you have to go on. You can't. There's not a whole lot of exploration. It's the same 3 types of starters. It's the same 8 gym leaders until the Elite Four, and there's going to be an evil corporation. We're going to introduce a new mechanic that is then going to be dropped in the next generation of game.
Yep. Or like slightly changed, maybe.
Yeah, or modified, but we're going to, walk back a lot of the advancements that we've made already. And it's just, it's kind of a bummer.
Yeah, because you're right. Like that's what's going to happen, and it is definitely a bummer. I just want Pokemon to be more than what it has been in the past.
Yeah.
And
other than just a graphical upgrade, because that kind of very much just seems like that's all this is.
Yep. No, I agree wholeheartedly. All right, that's probably going to do it for us. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the last Nerds for Hire, but we'll see you next month with whatever.
We'll see how good we are at coming up with a name now that I actually have to think of a.
Yeah, that was the joke I was making earlier.
A show that's happening. Oh no, yeah, I'm very aware. I'm just reiterating it.
Fair
also, we talked about it earlier. Facebook.com/Podzilla1985. Give us a like. That there is still time to get your submission in. That if you Photoshop, what was it?
If you Photoshop Sobble in an emo band,
right, as like an actual emo band, Photoshop that to us, send it to us, or draw it, or whatever, however you want to do it. Send it to us. You can either email it at PokemonContest@Podzilla1985.com. You can literally put anything at Podzilla1985.com, and that'll get to us.
Yeah, because I think I was doing art contest at Podzilla1985.
Art contest whichever. Yeah. You can send it to us on Facebook. Our DMs are open there.
Yep.
But the winner will receive a drawn picture from our own Lindsay Wolfgong of you and your favorite Pokemon.
Yep.
And Lindsay's a very talented artist, so that's going to be super cool.
Yeah, it'll be a very personalized picture. It's not going to be like one of the things that she already has drawn up.
Yeah.
Yeah, she'll draw you and your favorite Pokemon.
So those are due by Thursday.
Yep.
So make sure you get those in if you haven't already. We've actually gotten a handful of submissions already, which is super cool. Thank you to everyone who has already submitted, because that's super awesome. Also, like we said earlier, Twitter.com/Podzilla1985. We are being more active on the Twitter, so give us a follow there. And then Patreon.com/Podzilla1985. For $1, you get all of the pre-shows that we record before every single show. You get all of them for the entire month. Today's was like 20 minutes long. It was a lot of fun. They tend to be a lot of fun because it is us at our most relaxed, just BSing with each other.
Yep. Just me making sure that or me or Shannon, whoever's hosting, making sure that the sound is good while just having general conversation.
Yep.
It is uncensored.
Yes, very not safe for work.
So there's language. Sometimes the content is M-rated. Sometimes, like today, the content was fine. There's just a couple of swear words thrown in. But yeah, no, it's a lot of fun. And yeah, the $1 gets you like all past, present, current, etc.
Yep.
And for the rest of the month, pre-shows. $1.
And speaking of not safe for work, the Podzilla 1985 YouTube channel is up, and we do have our first episode of the Podzilla Smash Federation. It was a lot of fun to do. This is very much a work in progress. I think it looks good. Shannon is a little down on himself because he thinks it could look better. But when you look at the amount of time and resources we have available to us, I'm very proud of it. So it is, and as he gets more practice and, you know, we've kind of put more time into it and get a more of a feel of what we're going with it, it's just going to keep getting better.
Yep.
But even still, the first episode's a lot of fun, and it does include the long-awaited battle between myself and Shannon to determine who truly belongs, who's more deserving of that slot on the Smash Ultimate roster, Simon Belmont or King K. Rool.
and who is better, the 5-star man or Mr. 100?
I don't know if I would go that far, but it's definitely it's you know,
how far we're going.
Is that how far we're going?
We're going that far.
Well, Jesse says that. So, so check those out. Check us out. And if you've stuck around this long, just thank you in general. We love you. Even if you don't want to talk to us, that's fine. We appreciate you just listening.
It's true. I see that number and I love it. So yeah, like Asa said, we love you. Good night.